Have you ever wondered how someone who famously joked about drowning in moonlight strangled by her own bra could inspire millions to confront their deepest vulnerabilities? Carrie Fisher was known worldwide as Princess Leia, yet beneath those iconic buns and witty comebacks lay a depth of experience, pain, and brilliance that many fans only discovered later. For someone who wore her heart on her sleeve, often quite literally through her vibrant interviews, brutally honest books, and cutting humor, she still managed to keep entire chambers of her life hidden away. Let's shine a light on those lesser-seen corners of Carrie Fisher's extraordinary journey. She was born in 1956 to Hollywood royalty, actress Debbie Reynolds and singer Eddie Fisher. Imagine being a child introduced to the world on glossy magazine covers, only to watch your father leave your mother in a very public scandal. She grew up in a swirl of paparazzi flashbulbs and Hollywood drama, coming of age in the rebellious spirit of the 1970s. Her big break arrived when she was cast in a little space opera called Star Wars, a film that no one, least of all Carrie herself, expected to explode into a cultural phenomenon. But her life would continue to oscillate between dazzling triumph and heartbreaking struggle, leaving behind a legacy so complex, people are still unpacking it today. She was forced to lose weight for Star Wars, and it fueled an early battle with self-esteem. A rarely discussed aspect of her Star Wars casting was the pressure placed upon her to achieve a certain physique. The studio reportedly insisted she lose at least 10 pounds before filming, a move that planted the seeds of body image issues that would follow her for years. Carrie later joked about it with her trademark wit, telling interviewers that George Lucas ruined her life by making her weigh 105 pounds. She carried the emotional weight of that mandate well beyond the trilogy, becoming a vocal critic of Hollywood's narrow beauty standards. For many fans, the sight of Princess Leia was empowering, but it's sobering to realize that behind the scenes, Carrie felt anything but confident. She had an affair with Harrison Ford during the filming of Star Wars. It took decades for her to reveal in her memoir, The Princess Diarist, that she and co-star Harrison Ford had a 3-month affair on the set of the original Star Wars. She was 19, he was 33, and married with 2 children. It was one of Hollywood's best-kept secrets for almost 40 years. When Carrie finally opened up, she did so in a confessional style that was both poignant and humorous, describing her youthful naivety and the deep connection she felt for Ford. While some fans felt the revelation was unnecessary, Carrie believed it gave her ownership of her own story, a chance to reflect on the complexities of consent, youth, and fame. 3. She was secretly one of Hollywood's most in-demand script doctors. Even devoted fans often don't realize how many major films Carrie helped shape from behind the scenes. Starting in the 90s, she earned a reputation as a top script doctor, a writer who polishes dialogue, sculpts characters, and refines pacing. She contributed uncredited to projects like Hook, Sister Act, The Wedding Singer, and numerous others. Producers adored her razor-sharp wit and uncanny ability to spot inconsistencies. Some who worked with her recall that she could read a script once, identify its biggest flaws, and fix them in a flurry of typed pages the next day. Though her official credits were few, her imprint runs deep through countless Hollywood classics. 4. She suffered a lifelong struggle with bipolar disorder and became a champion for mental health. Carrie Fisher's public battles with mental health and addiction are well known, but not everyone appreciates just how pivotal her openness was in reducing stigma. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder in her 20s, she went through cycles of mania and depression that led to hospitalizations and turbulent personal relationships. Instead of hiding it, she wrote and spoke candidly about it, particularly in her memoirs and her one-woman show, Wishful Drinking. She admitted to electroconvulsive therapy, ECT sessions, that briefly wiped away her memories, comparing it to hitting the reset button on her brain. She offered solace to countless fans struggling with similar issues, affirming that mental illness was nothing to be ashamed of. Highs. She nearly married Dan Aykroyd, and their proposal story is the stuff of legend. Long before her revelations about Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher was actually engaged to comedian Dan Aykroyd. The two grew close while filming The Blues Brothers, in which she had a memorable cameo and as a jilted ex-lover bent on revenge. According to Aykroyd, the proposal happened spontaneously after he saved her from choking on a Brussels sprout. They even bought a ring, albeit a rather cheap one, and planned to wed. Ultimately, Carrie's rekindled feelings for musician Paul Simon, whom she had dated before, overshadowed her whirlwind romance with Aykroyd. The engagement ended, but the story remains a testament to the unpredictability of her love life. 6. She had an extremely close relationship with Michael Jackson. People are often surprised to learn that Carrie Fisher and Michael Jackson shared an intense bond, mainly due to their parallel experiences with fame from a young age. They met as adults, each carrying the weight of a childhood in the public eye. According to Carrie, they'd often talk about the dizzying aspects of celebrity, the loss of normalcy, the fear of abandonment, and the hunt for genuine connections in a world filled with sycophants. Friends say they would spend hours on the phone, sometimes laughing, sometimes breaking into tears. Though the specifics of their conversations remain private, Carrie occasionally hinted at how deeply she empathized with his struggles. 7. Her rocky relationship with Debbie Reynolds mellowed into a beautiful friendship. Carrie Fisher grew up watching her mother, Debbie Reynolds, dazzle the silver screen. Yet as a child, she sometimes resented that stardom. The tension intensified in her teenage years, eventually exploding into estrangements and reconciliations. Debbie was the wholesome sweetheart of America, while Carrie was the rebellious daughter forging her own identity. Yet, in their later years, they became best friends, sharing a Beverly Hills compound that allowed them personal space but kept them close. They even documented their bond in the HBO film Bright Lights, starring Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. That poignant documentary revealed a mother-daughter duo who had finally learned to laugh at the chaos of their intertwined lives, forging a connection stronger. She endured criticism for her appearance in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. When Carrie reprised her role as Leia in The Force Awakens, she faced another round of scrutiny, this time from social media critics who commented on her aging appearance. It hit her hard, sparking painful memories of the body image pressures she'd endured decades earlier. She fired back publicly, reminding people that everyone gets older. Her defiance endeared her even more to fans, who saw her as a living embodiment of resilience. "My body hasn't aged as well as I have," she tweeted with a wink, underlining her ability to transform bitterness into comedic gold. It was a cultural moment that reignited conversations about ageism, especially for women in Hollywood. She died just days after suffering a cardiac arrest on a flight, and her mother passed the next day. One of the most heart-wrenching truths is how Carrie Fisher's life ended so abruptly. In late 2016, she went into cardiac arrest on a flight from London to Los Angeles. She passed away on December the 27th, sparking international grief among fans who'd grown up admiring Princess Leia and the remarkable woman behind her. Shockingly, her mother, Debbie Reynolds, died the very next day. "I want to be with Carrie," she reportedly said, unable to bear the loss. Their near-simultaneous departures felt both tragic and strangely poetic, a sign of the inseparable bond they shared in life and death. Hollywood memorials poured in, tributes spanning generations of admirers, from Mark Hamill to younger stars who recognized Fisher as a pioneering voice for honesty and self-acceptance. 10. Her ashes were carried in a giant Prozac pill, symbolizing her open battle with mental health. Always one for symbolic gestures and dark humor, Carrie Fisher requested in her will that her ashes be placed in a container shaped like a giant Prozac pill. Her brother Todd Fisher honored that wish. The image of her remains in a bright green and white capsule, served as a final wink to the public, capturing the essence of Carrie's attitude, authentic, irreverent, and impossible to ignore. For someone who spent a lifetime urging society to talk openly about mental health, it was a statement only she could have orchestrated, turning her resting place into a final commentary on the human condition. Maybe that's the most striking thing about Carrie Fisher. She taught us that it's possible to be both a galactic princess and a flawed, very human fighter. She embodied hope for anyone battling demons behind the scenes, proving that humor can be a life raft in the darkest waters. Her story stands as a testament to resilience, reminding us that every person we idolize has cracks beneath the polished exterior. In acknowledging those cracks and shining a light on her own struggles, she gave permission for others to do the same. Hers was a life brimming with contradictions, fame and isolation, strength and fragility, seriousness and laughter, but in embracing them fully, she managed to become an icon all over again, this time for honesty,